More than 1,000 days has passed since Russia attacked Ukraine in a full scale. Since then, Russia pretty much cleaned its medias, its internet. If you look around Russian internet, you'll figure out that Facebook, Meta is blocked. They even consider it terrorists. You'll see that YouTube is slowing down. Almost 80% traffic is not watching the YouTube anymore in Russia. Discord is blocked. Instagram is blocked. Pretty much any source of independent information you could get before is blocked. Moreover, you will not find any opinions on the Russian TV that the war is wrong or mistaken or should not have happened in the first place. You can hear for yourself how it was discussed on the country's main TV channel that the Ukrainian armed forces had captured an entire piece of international recognized Russian territory.
Есть одна безусловная польза от Курской вылазки Укррейха. Вся эта крысиная возня вокруг переговоров, каких-то сделках, разменах накрывается надолго, если не навсегда.
But I'm sure a lot of people in the West don't really know all the factors that make poor people from regions, people who commit crimes, and other kinds of people to go and actually fight against Ukraine. What is their main motivation? So let's figure it out in this video. For those for the first time here, my name is Zach. I'm 23-year-old Russian who left Russia because of the war against Ukraine, and today we are going to dig deep into why would you actually want to fight Ukrainians who protect their motherland. First, it's important to know that Russia operates a conscript army. Every man between the ages of 18 and 30 is required to serve for at least 1 year. In addition to conscription, Russia also has a contract-based military service. After completing the mandatory year, one can apply to become a contract soldier. From a distance, this arrangement resembles the professional armies of countries without conscription. In Russia, many men from economically depressed regions choose contract service because otherwise they are looking at decades of earning at best around $600 a month. After 2022, a large number of those soldiers found themselves deployed to the war. Moreover, after the war began, it became much harder de jure and de facto to terminate a military contract. Winning a dismissal case in the garrison court is extremely difficult. In 2.5 years of war, only 9 Russians have managed to do so. Everything is very, very bad. Forget about leaving or your contract ending. As long as this continues, they will beat you, throw you into a pit, and send you to the assault brigades, from which there are only 2 ways out, 200 or 300. And there are places where they don't even evacuate the 300s. You'll stay there as long as you keep pulling the trigger. There is no legal way to quit, and if there is, then only after the bloody war ends. Deserter return, told journalists. In Russia, a mobilization took place in the fall of 2022, and legally it has never ended. However, after a surge of discontent from ordinary apolitical Russians and the largest wave of immigration from Russia in nearly a century, the Russian leadership decided that conducting such large-scale mobilization waves would lead to societal problems. That's when the Russian government started to offer rewards for volunteers who are willing to participate in the war against Ukraine. To reiterate, for millions of people, this is an opportunity to escape poverty. Foreign commentators, Karl Tuckersons if you will, may lavish praise on Moscow or central St. Petersburg, but in most parts of Russia, people live very, very poorly. Initially, the payments were small, about $2,000 or $3,000 as a one-time bonus payment, and about $2,000 as a monthly payment, but as the war started to drag the Russian economy and the Russian soldiers into it, they started to lack soldiers. But as the war dragged on and the authorities were not willing to have another wave of mobilization, the monthly payouts and bonuses started to increase. For example, in the Krasnodar region, the one-time payment to the participants in the war in Ukraine was doubled, from 500,000 to 1 million rubles. In the city of Krasnodar itself, it increased from 250,000 to 1.65 million of rubles. In the Khanty-Mansiysk Autonomous Okrug, the payment stands at 1.59 million rubles, but Moscow set the record. On July 23rd, Mayor Sergei Sobyanin signed an order for a one-time payment of 1.9 million of rubles after signing a contract with the Ministry of Defense. But as the war dragged on and people left or were killed, creating a shortage of soldiers, the payments started to increase. Now, the top record holder is Moscow, offering 5.2 million rubles for the first year. Additionally, Putin signed a decree allowing individuals up to 65 years old to sign contract, which also indicates a manpower shortage despite such sums. It's important to understand that the Russian population is heavily burdened with loans. For example, a recent survey showed that almost a quarter of Russians consider it normal to spend half their salary on loan repayments. Therefore, when signing a contract, volunteers are also promised the cancellation of debts of up to 10 million rubles, including loans taken out of their spouse. In 61 out of 81 regions, the debt burden per capita exceeds 60%, and in some, it goes up to 90%. In a republic like Tuva, the debt load is almost 150%, meaning people earn even less than what they owe to the bank. The motivation to clear one's debts, escape poverty, make the first mortgage payments, and send your child to university is a strong driving force for an average Russian volunteer. There are many cases in which men with debts are offered a contract with the Ministry of Defense to resolve all their personal financial problems. The media has been reporting such stories for more than a year. Russian independent media Verska also wrote about a similar case involving a resident of the Rostov region whom bailiffs suggested sign a contract, and he ended up in Storm Z unit. Moreover, the authorities are actively advertising relief from paying interest on consumer loans, and in the event of death, the debt is forgiven and does not burden family members. At the same time, the offer to go to the front to get rid of debts is being made not only to men, but also to women. In the Krasnoyarsk region, such a recommendation was given to a local resident named Olga. She had borrowed money to renovate her apartment, but after her divorce, she couldn't make timely payments on her own. With a debt of 800,000 rubles, a court proceeding was initiated against her. The bailiff's message was left on her car's windshield. Olga, however, has neither a military RD nor any medical training, but she does have 2 children. So let's see, what is the social profile of an average volunteer? Well, firstly, almost 80% of the volunteers who fight against Ukraine do not have higher education. The majority of volunteers, which is about 47%, they have only completed some kind of vocational or basically some kind of like community college courses. And 32.2% of volunteers only finish high school. And it's important to understand the Russian system is really different from American system, for example, where pretty much in Russia you can go to university for free if you pass your SAT really well, and it's kind of easy. Pretty much almost everyone, like 80%, go to university for free. So if the majority of volunteers didn't go to university or some college, not the majority but a big part of them, it kind of means something to me, at least. In the new ads for contract service on TV, they no longer mention that you are going to die for some great idea or for your motherland, for Russia. No, they just basically say that we pay well and there are good social benefits.
Хорошее денежное удовольствие, социальные гарантии. Вступить в военную ипотеку гораздо легче, частью своего контракта.
Another way, giving up your life, dying for nothing, has become the best way to move up the social ladder in Russia. Russia is truly the land of opportunity, because if you kill someone, if you rape someone, if you steal money from the government, from the budget, if you evade paying taxes, or if you even fail to pay your child support, hey, Russia gives you a chance to actually avoid taking responsibility for your actions. You might have seen in the news that the Russian army includes a huge number of criminals. In 2022, the Wagner PMC began recruiting them, and after 6 months of service, the president of the Russian Federation himself signed their pardons. I even featured some of these individuals in my Russian PTSD video, and I highly recommend watching it. Feel free to comment if you'd like to see a new installment of that series. In other words, you can commit crimes, and they'll simply send you off to commit even greater crimes. Instead of serving a prison sentence, you'll get a suspended one. Again, you can stand trial, declare that you want to go to war, and your prison term will be replaced with a suspended sentence. And if you become a hero in the war in Ukraine, you won't even have to worry about the suspended sentence. Here are some clear examples of such cases. On November 27th, 2024, the Krasnodar Regional Court held a retrial of a criminal case against 2 residents of Krasnodar who were charged with murder, armed robbery, and fraud. In the case of one of the convicted individuals, A motion was filed by the head of the local military recruitment office. The defendant confirmed that he agreed to volunteer for deployment to a special military operation zone. The court granted the motion, and the convict will be transferred to the authorized military representative in due course. The accident took place on April 7, 2020 in Krasnodar. A Land Cruiser hit a 29-year-old cyclist and fled the scene. The driver of the SUV was judge of the Krasnodar Regional Court, Yuri Zakharchevsky. The cyclist was hospitalized and died 4 months later. In February 2024, the court sentenced Zakharchevsky to 6 years in the minimum security penal colony. In October, it became known that Yuri Zakharchevsky had not actually gone to the penal colony. He signed a contract with the Russia's Ministry of Defense and was sent to the special military operation zone. A 39-year-old resident of Alapayevsk, Alexander Belushin, who had been convicted of murdering his wife, the mother of 5 children, was killed in a special military operation. The court sentenced him to 9.5 years in high-security prison, but after the verdict, Belushin submitted a request to be sent to participate in the special military operation. Even the former mayor of Vladivostok, Pushkarev, who was convicted on corruption charges, has signed a military service contract with the Russian Ministry of Defense. This was reported by TASS, citing Pushkarev's lawyer. So in this video, I wanted to show some people who are kind of far from Russia and from its realities to understand why an average person, an average soldier, actually goes to the war. What's his motivation, or hers in some cases. And as we've seen, 3 main motivations is poverty. People don't make enough money, so they have to use basically military service to make enough. Secondly, there is literally no other alternative opinion towards the war because Russia cleaned up all the media space. There is internet is censored, Facebook is blocked, YouTube is blocked, Instagram is blocked. A lot of other independent medias are blocked for a long time. And the third reason is because people commit crimes and they just want to not take responsibility for their actions. It was me, Zach the Russian. Thank you for watching the video. There are ways to support the channel. There is Patreon. There is also other links in the description below. Thank you and see ya in next videos. Bye.